No doubt that the Apple Log is the biggest leap forward in filmmaking with the iPhone, so today we're having a look at top 5 real issues with Apple Log and how you can fix those. Let's go. What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin, you're watching No Limits On channel. So the first issue is double framing or frame drops in the footage, especially when you film in 50 frames per second or 60 frames per second. So here is the example. As you can see, here is the shot of Varan, this little lizard. It's not little, it's actually a pretty big lizard. And when I move through frames, frame by frame, you can see that in one spot we have two exactly the same frames. So I switch between frames, but the image stays still. It doesn't move at all. And if I go to the next frame, you can definitely tell that it starts moving. So we have exactly the same frames in one spot, two of those side by side. So how to fix it? You can cut out this doubling frame, one frame, and it'll be pretty fine, but it's a very annoying process. And I have written to Blackmagic Design support team to address this issue, but as for now, it is what it is. And the first time I've noticed this issue was when I was making my little commercial in this fish tank. And guys, my friend who was editing this commercial said that he also saw some double frames, so the image kind of stops for one frame and then moves once again. And to be honest guys, I don't know when it happens. It happens occasionally, maybe when it's too much pressure on the processor part, or maybe in super hot environments, but from time to time I do see this, and the frame rates could fluctuate a little bit, which is annoying and not very professional, to be honest. But during the long shots of the interviews, like 1 or 2 hours straight, I didn't see any issues, any doubling frames. So maybe it only happens in 30p and above. Keep that in mind guys, and if you do have this issue, you know what to do, just cut out this doubling frame. The second issue is this exclamation mark instead of a record button in Blackmagic Camera app. And after this exclamation mark, the recording can be completely stopped or you'll have a major frame drops. So keep an eye on this icon, and if you see an exclamation mark, you should restart the app and continue filming in a different setting, maybe not in 4K, or maybe let the phone cool down. And also guys, occasionally I did face the overheating issue, especially on Sri Lanka, in a very hot sunny day with direct sunlight hitting the iPhone, and I did have an overheating warning once or twice. So it's also an issue, and if you have an external cooler, it's a nice idea to actually use it while you are filming, especially if you want to charge your phone simultaneously. The next issue is the stabilization in Blackmagic Camera app when you are using the LUT or a preset. So you can watch the log footage in contrasty and more saturated fashion, applying the LUT or lookup table, but when you use the cinematic or extreme stabilization and you press record, it starts to lag a lot. So you put the phone like so, and then the image goes "Wah." So it's really annoying and irritating. So either you need to use the log straight without the LUT, and you can see actually the real-time footage with the extreme or cinematic stabilization in Blackmagic Camera app, or you can use the LUT with the standard stabilization and have a real-time preview, or you'll have a super heavy lag if you use the extreme or cinematic with the LUT applied. Also in Blackmagic Camera app, you can actually bake in the LUT, like my wife does, shooting stories in Blackmagic Camera app with the LUT applied to upload it to Instagram stories, for instance, straight away. But still, she uses the standard stabilization to actually play back the footage in real time, and it's really annoying because it's getting a bit more shaky than you want to. In the native camera app, you cannot apply a LUT, but also the stabilization is like through the roof compared to the standard stabilization in Blackmagic Camera app, so keep that in mind, guys. The next irritating issue is the red hue with Apple Log, and even Apple themselves, they provide you with the LUT, Apple Log to Rec 709, but when you apply this LUT to your footage, shot in Apple Log of course, you get super pinkish image and a lot of reddish colors in the skin tone. So my suggestion is to go to a Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro and find a hue saturation curves. Then select the red hue with a little picker and then desaturate the reds. Always desaturate red channel with the Apple Log to get proper skin tones, and especially if you use Alistair Chapman LUT, which I use all the time, and I have a link below the like button of course to download it. So if you pull the red channel saturation down, you'll have proper skin tones, proper red hues, And also from time to time you can also change the hue of the red a little bit. It tends to be a bit magenta-ish, but I prefer to make it a bit more green-ish. And the last irritating issue with Blackmagic Camera app especially is the work of zebras and false color in lower ISO settings. As you probably know guys, the native ISO of the iPhone is around 1250, as Gerald Undone found out. I hope you saw his video. And we have the best dynamic range in this ISO, and also the zebras and the false color work properly with this ISO value. It's the same as with the Sony cameras, so if you have the native ISO of 800 with the Sony FX30, which is filming me right now, and you set the zebras to, for example, 95, you'll be fine. But if you start to lower the ISO values to, for instance, 400 or 200, you'll find that the zebras don't appear. They have shifted the range of the zebras, and the same happens to the iPhone. So you don't have zebras even though the footage is completely overexposed. Or if you look at false color, you see that the image is not red, which is supposed to be overexposed, but it's certainly overexposed, as you can see from those screen recordings. So to have proper zebras and proper false color, you need to use ISO of 1250 at least. And if you use lower settings, your zebra values will change. So the zebras will appear at 70% sometimes even lower or higher. It depends on the ISO, which is not convenient. You cannot memorize all the values of the ISOs and the zebra values to be able to work with them as intended. So my suggestion is to use your eyes in the first place and the histogram in the second place. If you see something and it appears to be overexposed, just dial in the settings of exposure a bit lower, for instance, lower the ISO a touch, or keep the shutter a bit shorter. So do something with it, but don't use the false color and the zebra. Don't trust them 100% if you are not using the native ISO of 1250 or a bit above. So to conclude guys, those 5 issues are not deal breakers, at least for me, but don't expect the iPhone to work as the proper cinema camera for $1,200 or $1,500. No, or $15,000 even. So this is the smartphone in the first place, and only the 5th or maybe the 6th place is the video camera. So I hope that the Blackmagic camera and also the Apple will address those issues in future firmware updates, but as for now, I'm not that much irritated by those features. Or those bugs, let me say, and I do know how to work around those, even though sometimes it's not that possible. So if you did enjoy this video, guys, please smash the like and subscribe buttons, and please write down in the comment section below which other issues or bugs irritate you the most while using Apple Log. See you in the next video, guys. Take care. Bye.